Broadcasting live. It's America's longest running talk show on computers. It's Computer America, bringing you the biggest names in technology with guest interviews, new products, and your emails. Listen live at computeramerica.com on any device around the world. Email the show at live@computeramerica.com or find us on social media. Be sure to check out our website for contests, giveaways, show notes, live video stream, podcasts, and more. You're listening to Computer America.
Hello and welcome to the Computer America Show. We are the nation's longest running, nationally syndicated radio talk show on computers and technology. Thank you for joining us. I'm your host, Ben Crossman, and everyone, I hope you're having a great day and you're ready for some Computer America, where, of course, in the second part of the show, we will be doing computer and technology news, and that is a segment dedicated to keeping you up to date on all the latest tech stories, and it's always a fun segment because, hey, we just get to really highlight what's cool, what's fun, innovative, and sometimes scary in technology. So you definitely want to stick around for that. But in the first part of the show, as we are wont to do, we have a guest joining us. And today's guest, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's something a little bit different. Sometimes we have on devices that make your lives easier, and on a tech show, I won't lie, a lot of times that turns into smart light bulbs, that turns into digital assistants and things like that. And today's guest is going to be a little different because it's a device to make your cat's life easier. How many times have you seen your cat and said, they have it rough. We need to do something for them. So this is going to be a very interesting show, and it's going to be about LavvieBot, and it's by a company called Purrsong. So hey, smart litter box. This is going to be fun, like I said. So, but before we get started, let me of course mention computeramerica.com. That's where you'll find everything from the show notes, a link to our guest website, any articles that we do, any reviews that we do, anything about Computer America, computeramerica.com. Also, be sure to check out the live video stream where we will be showing the demonstration videos, as well as just kind of poking around their website. And then on top of that, be sure to check out the social media contest. So everyone, stay tuned for that. And why don't we go ahead and just bring on our guests and get started to talk about what goes into making one of these, something that is so traditionally low tech, such as a litter box, and what goes into making something that is, stylish and high tech. So joining us is none other than Mr. Jinwon Park. He is the software engineer for Purrsong, and here to tell us all about what the LavvieBot does. And Jinwon, thank you so much for coming here to Computer America.
Hi Ben, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. And again, thank you so much for coming on. So obviously, I gave a little introduction, but this is going to be something that honestly, first time here on Computer America, that we've had an automatic litter box company, and on top of that, the smartest automatic litter box. Tell us a bit about, actually, we should get a bit about yourself first. What's your background? Have you always been working with cats, or is this something new? What's your background, and when did you start working with Purrsong?
Well, so I'm a software developer. I mostly make application for that goes with a LavvieBot device, and I joined Purrsong about a year ago, and since then I've been working on mostly application and some firmware, um, after service type of stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah, my background is in engineering, industrial engineering degree, and this is my first job, so there hasn't been any other job
Right. Well,
working. Yeah.
so this might be an interesting question. So obviously, fresh out of school, I assume. So, when you were going to school, did you see this as an eventuality where you were going to be working with products, and obviously, if you're getting a software engineering or an engineering degree,
Mm.
there are like kind of what we see in movies and television, but I mean, we're heading into an age where everything has some kind of intelligence to it. Everything needs some kind of software engineering behind it. Did you just see this as like, well, I was going to work with giant systems for banks and stuff, or we're going to go the startup route. Did you see this coming? I guess is the question.
Yeah, I was always interested in IoT devices, and there are a lot of stuffs going on in like giant tech companies, but like I found like startups more innovative and fun to work
Mm-hmm.
with as a, I guess, like entry level developer. So it always has been kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, and I think you chose a well, you said interesting. I think this is going to be an interesting one. So, if you would, why don't you go ahead and introduce LavvieBot and what it is for everyone out there listening on the radio. If you could also kind of give a brief description on, just a physical description and what it does, and just kind of an overview.
Okay, so LavvieBot is basically a automatic cat toilet. So it self cleans and self refills its litter so that the cat owners won't have to worry about litter box up to 2 weeks at a time, compared to 2 to 3 days with the manual litter box. So it is quite an improvement for the cat owners and for the cats as well, because it takes care of litter every day pretty much. So it stays fresh, and for cat owners, you won't have to worry about it for a pretty long time.
Yeah, and obviously, well, I haven't had a cat in quite a while, but
Mhm.
I'll admit cleaning the litter box was never my favorite chore. I don't think it's anyone's.
Oh yeah.
Uh, but I have to ask, I mean, how how do kind of the cats react to an automatic litter box? And we can of course just speak to LavvieBot in general. Um, I assume that obviously cats are going to like having fresh litter as opposed to kind of used litter and whatnot.
Mhm.
Um, this thing isn't very loud. It's not very scary for the cats. I mean, just overall, cats do they kind of take to this easily?
Yeah, so cats, for some people who hasn't owned cats, I guess, they do their business, I guess,
Hmm.
in litter inherently, I guess. So there's no training required, and we do have a component that's just filled with litter, and so, if your cat's kind of, I guess, not reluctant to using it,
Hmm.
we do have a transition period where you can just take out that component and then, have a transition period for a couple of days and then put it in. And there hasn't been much of a problem. Just, I guess, training to use them, because usually cats know like where to go and do their business.
Right. No, and of course that transition period very important. Talk real quick to everyone out there, and we just played the introduction video. Very very nice video you have up on your site. Everyone, if you want to check that out, LavvieBot.com, LavvieBot.com. Obviously, a link in the show notes. But I wanted you to give a brief product description for everyone out there listening, because it's bigger than a bread box, bigger than I think an ordinary litter box. And if you just want to, kind of give a physical description and some of the major components, because I saw there was like a storage area, there was a compartment where, of course, all the waste kind of gets dumped into. Give an overview or like a description of the product.
I mean, like the physical description.
Yeah. Like how tall is it? Wide is it? Dimensions, things like that.
Okay. Well, I know a biometric system, so I'll go by metric system. Can you kind of
No, sure, go for it.
yeah, translate? So it's about like 70 centimeter tall and 50 centimeter wide.
So 77 meters to inches would be about 28 inches, and then 50, I would assume that's somewhere around like 20 inches. So about 2 feet.
Mm,
So about 2 feet tall, a
mm.
little bit under 2 feet wide. So not too big.
Yeah, and it weighs about 30 kilograms. So
30 kilograms is man. I used to work with kilograms to pounds all the time. So let's see, 30 kilograms to pounds would be 66 pounds. That's a hefty machine.
yes, it is. So it will be a little difficult, like first installing it, but once you install it, it's not designed to kind of move around.
Hmm.
So we focus more on the design and how much space we have inside the device for the cats to use. So
Right.
I guess it might seem a lot like heavier.
No, it's honestly very, very well designed. You can see the design. You guys have really put a lot of work into it, and uh, it, and it kind of looks like a printer, like a large office printer,
Yes.
except there's a port. There's kind of a port in the front where the cat can jump in and do its
Mhm.
business inside.
Yeah.
So that's physical description aside, and very compact, very sleek. I like it. Now
Mhm.
let's talk about kind of why you're here on Computer America, the intelligence side of it, because I think a lot of people out there may be thinking, having an automatic cat box with maybe a scheduler, kind of built into it is one thing. You have an
Mhm.
app, you have software that, kind of goes in with this. Talk about
Yeah.
some of the key features software wise.
So yeah, we do have a couple of sensors, weight sensors and infrared sensor. So for application, we can connect the device to the router you have at home to send data to the server. So basically, you can keep track of like the cat's weight, how many times it goes a day, and like how long it goes, like duration. So that let's say you can take an average of like how long the urine is, and if it spikes up to like double the times, you will know something's up with your cat, and then um, you can take it to the veterinary office. So we are collecting more data so that we can figure out what's best for the cat's health, so to speak.
That, that's of course very interesting, and that's how to kind of draw to some of the other guests that we've had here on the show.
Mhm.
Large healthcare providers are doing something similar with people where
Mhm.
they have the data and they have a baseline, and then anything that goes abnormal
Mhm.
outside the baseline, that's when you're alerted. So you're saying that
Mhm.
obviously you're going to get a baseline, and then anything abnormal, you're going to alert
Yeah.
the user.
Yes.
Makes perfect sense. And I so by the way, just real quick,
Mhm.
I know that especially in Europe and in parts of the U.S.,
Mhm.
user data, security, data safety, that kind of thing, it's important for
Mhm.
people. I don't think cats have to sign any kind of end user license agreement or anything like that. But uh, is there any focus on security when it comes to designing something like this?
Well, yeah, we focus a lot of on security, I guess, cat's health security, if it counts. So that's where the infrared sensor comes in. So
Hmm.
we do have like the cleaning process and refilling process, which could be kind of dangerous for cats if the cats were in the litter box.
True.
So infrared sensor detects if there's any motion in front of the litter box. So it would stop doing cleaning or refilling if the cat's around. So it will be safe for the cats in general, like at all times.
Right. Yeah. You definitely don't want to get home and find your cat doused in cleaning fluid or anything like that. Very
Yeah,
important.
we don't.
And yeah, and then of course I'm also seeing just kind of poking around your website here, and
Mm,
you've also integrated the task of ordering litter because
yeah.
again I haven't really owned a cat since Amazon became a
Mm,
thing, but I assume a lot of people have cat litter ordered to their door already, but it's something that
yes.
you have to kind of be mindful of and plan for,
Mhm.
that kind of thing. You handle that within your app. How does that work?
Well, this the cat litter ordering is still in the development phase,
Oh, okay.
but yeah, basically it works, I guess, similar to whatever the Amazon Prime works. So you can get it like we do keep track of like how many litters are there in the litter LavvieBot itself. So if it's going short, like we'll give you a notice like 2 to 3 days before, so that like when you absolutely have no litter, you'll have it in front of your house, so to speak.
Gotcha. No, and very important because you don't want to, of course, run out of litter, and it's
Yeah.
the name of this machine is probably convenience. Like this is why you've designed something like the LavvieBot. It's very interesting to take all the different sensors and things that we associate with an Internet of
Hmm.
Things, and then put it in something that you would not traditionally consider uh,
Yeah.
hooking up to the internet, or having an Internet of Things device. All that being said, now there's another feature I think we kind of gloss over when it came to the app, and you can
Hmm.
send notifications of when your cat goes. I think I don't want to say that there's a camera, but
Hmm.
like talk about why you decided to let owners know when their pet goes, because I think that was kind of the cute part to me.
Oh, yes. This is mainly our founder's idea. So we don't have any cameras inside of it,
Okay.
but we do have a weight sensor. So like we can detect each time whenever a cat uses the litter box. So it is kind of an additional feature we do have data for. So our founder said it might be like I guess the cat owners might be interested like whenever their cats go to litter box.
Right.
So it's kind of an additional feature like while we're designing it, it came up and
It became
yeah,
we could, so why wouldn't we kind of feature.
yeah,
Makes
yes.
sense. Makes sense. And of course, that you can creep all your friends out by showing us like, hey, check it out, my cat just used a litter box. That's but no, it really is a cute
Yeah.
feature, and very interesting. So again, just go over some of the highlights here.
Yeah.
Wi-Fi connected. It has autofill. You can eventually, you're definitely planning on sensing cat litter and ordering refills, things like that. I mean, you put a
Yes.
lot of effort into this.
Mm,
Let's say someone invests in a LavvieBot, kind of right now. I think
mm,
it's available, and you can, of course,
mm,
correct me on that. Uh, as this thing gets pushed out,
mm.
are there going to be more updates, kind of software wise? Like, what's in your mind? And I'm not asking for any kind of specific roadmap here, but in your mind, are you
Mm.
going to keep developing this smart litter box on the back end and push software updates, or
Mhm.
is it kind of what you see is what you get forever?
Well, we are pushing more toward like software updates. We do have like the pet shop kind of embedded in the our app, so that we are trying to make a link of, let's say, like what type of litter that cat uses and what type of like cat food it takes, so that we can keep like correlates the data we have, like the health data, mainly urinary like type of data,
Mm-hmm.
so that we can find a kind of a, I guess, custom solution for each cat, like whatever like cat litter and cat food is best for your cat. So we are definitely pushing for like software updates, But as far as hardware goes, it will be pretty much the same. We will have minor updates as we
Right.
had like some issues like while we were testing. So we're still kind of I guess making it more precise and more functional.
Right. No, and of course, as time goes on, I mean, we've even seen the past couple of years, sensors, decrease in price, increase in sensitivity. Just as time goes on, things get better. I'm sure that you're going to, of course, upgrade you're going to upgrade the LavvieBot. So that makes
Yes.
perfect sense. I do like the idea that you're kind of spelling out where maybe having an app that is tied with the litter box and building an ecosystem where maybe your cat has gained 2 pounds over 2 months and may not be super noticeable to you, but
Yeah.
maybe your litter box can kind of say, hey, we recommend diet food, your cat's gained weight, it'd be healthier if you switch to this one and start recommending food, start recommending
Yeah.
litter. That could be very useful.
Yeah, definitely. Um, so we are trying to build an ecosystem where basically we can kind of it is really hard to, I guess, definitely we can't speak to cats,
Hmm.
so that's a big challenge, but we're trying to like, I guess, communicate more with our cats so that we can take care whenever it's sick, and just in general we can, like, I guess, communicate more with the cats, which is a big benefit to the cat owners
So
and cats. Yeah.
So when you were developing this product, and I'm sure that you
Mhm.
got a lot of input from a lot of different people and maybe a lot of different cats, uh,
Mhm.
did you get any input, or has there been any reaction from the veterinary community? Because obviously you're talking about the health of cats. Uh,
Mhm.
have you gotten any feedback from vets and how they feel this product might help?
Oh yeah. We've had a couple of advisors for veterinarians,
Hmm.
and our data, like, is still in the experimental phase, but um, just the just the duration and frequency of, like, the urine and poop itself is giving a good feedback to the veterinarians, because a lot of cat disease has to do with urinary infection.
Right.
Also, I guess for the roadmap, we are planning to work with the veterinarians so that we can kind of we have an application that we can find local veterinarians, so that it is kind of more easier to access them. But it has um, a lot of things to do with the regulation of the laws, I guess. So it still has a long way to go.
Right. Absolutely. I mean, something like this is it's different, and when things are different, you really want to cross your T's, dot your I's, and make sure you're not running afoul of anyone. Uh,
Hmm.
this is, as I said, very interesting. If you want to give kind of the short and sweet of why someone should consider something like LavvieBot an automatic litter box if they have just one or two cats and they've never thought about upgrading their litter box. If you just want to
Hmm.
give like a quick summary of the benefits of using something like this, is this all about convenience? Is this going to be good for the cat? Just give us a quick, I guess, kind of pitch for why people should
Mm.
consider this.
Okay, so it's like, take aside of the, I mean, not so our biggest, I guess, biggest reviews we got from the users, like, is that you can take a trip to somewhere a week, or a week and a half, if you have enough food and water, like, as long as plus the LavvieBot,
Hmm.
because like you won't have to take care of the litter 2 to 3 days. So it is a big improvement for cat owners, because it gives you a lot of time flexibilities, a lot of pet owners don't have.
No, and that's something I
Yeah.
hadn't even considered. What because you're right. I've definitely heard my friends say that they will leave their cat with tons of food and water. Very strange idea to me because I'm we have dogs, and you definitely can't do that with dogs. But with cat makes
Yeah.
perfect sense and very interesting about leaving them, things like that. Just real quick, obviously we heard you guys from CES. The LavvieBot got a lot of attention at CES. How was the show? I don't know if you yourself went or if
Mhm.
I know that they went, but how was the trade show for you guys?
Oh yeah, I was there too, and there was a lot of interest to our product, and I guess a lot of media found it kind of interesting and weird gadgets
Yeah.
of the CES, but we definitely felt it as a good thing for us, and we need we are planning an Indiegogo launch on May, so I think that has been a big good news for us since we need kind of publicity to kind of spread this concept of automatic litter box.
Of course, and that's why you're on the show, and very happy that you were able to join us. Now, let's talk, and before we say goodbye or anything like that, let's talk about price. So for everyone out there, just from what I can see, you're starting the early bird. So anyone out there who doesn't know how Kickstarter or Indiegogo or these crowdfunding things to go, people who opt in early and kind of support the initial fund kind of get a special price, and I'm sure you're going to have a certain amount. $380 or €295 for the early bird. And how much is it
Yes.
going to be for everyone else who doesn't get in on the early thing?
So official launch price would be roughly about $650 US dollars.
Mm-hmm.
And
Not
early bird is, as you said, will be starting at 379 US dollars.
so
And the timeline,
about
yeah.
oh, and sorry, just jump in there. So about $300 off. That's definitely something you want to jump on. Now, and the price again, I haven't seen other. I'm sure that you guys have done lots of market research and things like that. But if you want to compare yourself to, let's say, other automatic litter boxes, this is going to be more. But at the same time, I'm not really sure how much more. Like, are you guys pretty competitive or?
We are or they are our main competitor in US, but as far as the price goes, and like we have this other features that our competitors don't have, such as auto refill part and the infrared
Mm,
sensor, so we feel like we are on the competitive edge
that's good.
on the market. Yeah.
That's good. That's good. So I'll let you go ahead and have the last word, Gen One. If people want to find out more, obviously Kickstarter in I believe you said in May. Yeah, May 2019.
Yes,
So
Indiegogo campaign, yeah.
yeah,
Sorry.
there we go. Indiegogo, not Kickstarter. Indiegogo campaign in May 2019. We'll, of course, keep an eye out for that. Let everyone know because really, we do think this is a very interesting product. But if people want to find out more information, where's the best place to go?
Our website, we do have, as you've mentioned earlier, we do have a website called www.lavviebot.com, and it has all the information you need. And if you do have questions, there is our email link, so we will get back to you as soon as we can.
Perfect, perfect. So, everyone, once again, we're going to include a link to that in the show notes, computeramerica.com. And in
Mm.
the meantime, Jinwan, I want to thank you so much for coming here onto Computer America. Like I said, this is going to happen more and more, I think, as the years come. You
Mm.
chose a very different kind of company to start your career
Mm.
with, but everything is going to be kind of going this way with Internet of Things. You
Yeah.
chose a good field to go into.
Yeah, yeah, thank you for having us here first, and I'm looking more forward to kind of technology evolving, and like as an engineer, like I'm feeling really kind of excited what's coming next.
We are too. We are too. So best of luck with LavvieBot. Again, we're going to keep an eye out for the Indiegogo campaign. And Jinwan, thank you for your time. Thanks for coming on the show.
All right, thanks, Ben.
All right, have a great one. Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.
All right, everyone, and there he goes. So, yeah, we are going to go ahead and do computer and technology news. Music should be starting in the background here in just a minute. Everyone, once again, that was LavvieBot, LavvieBot, bot.com. Link to that at computeramerica.com. In the meantime, everyone, very, very interesting, and one second. There we go. Yeah, we're good. So everyone, computeramerica.com, definitely check that out. And music should be starting right about, wait for it. There we go. Yeah, pretty good. So everyone, when we come back from commercial break, computer and technology news, and that's of course brought to you by Computer America. In the meantime, everyone, check us out wherever podcasts are heard. You can search Computer America and we should pop right up, or check out the live video stream, twitch.tv/Computer America. And something that we never mentioned, youtube.com/Computer America. Check us all out. Everyone, we'll be right back. More Computer America right after this.
Greece is cheap.
But the airfare costs a fortune.
Paris?
Not much closer, and again, airfare...
What about Puerto Vallarta?
Let's face it, flying anywhere is just too expensive.
Wait, what's this? Low-cost airlines.
With one call to low-cost airlines, you'll drastically slash your travel costs. We're talking insanely low airline prices to any of your favorite destinations. Where would you like to go? London, Rome, Costa Rica, Australia?
Wow, that's cheap.
So why wait? Call now to learn how crazy cheap it is to fly anywhere in the U.S. or international. Our prices are so low, we can't publish them. The only way to get them is to call to instantly hear the most amazing best deals on airline travel. It's that easy. So call now and start packing.
800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. 800-215-4461. That's 800-215-4461.
We are all Brother Wolf. 10 years ago, a group of locals banded together to create positive change. We took animals into our homes, held adoption events at local retailers, and talked to the community about our mission to help build a no-kill Asheville. A decade later, we have achieved so many victories for animals in need. There's been so much progress, yet there's still so much to do. As part of our year-long celebration, we encourage you to become a member of our special Compassionate Circle program. With a monthly donation of $10 or more, you will have behind-the-scenes access to the work we are doing at Brother Wolf. Our goal is to reach 1,000 members because we receive no government funding. Working together, we can help build and sustain no-kill communities. Learn more at compassionatecircle.bwar.org. We are a 501c3 tax-deductible organization.
And welcome back to the Computer America Show. It is 32 minutes past the hour, and everyone, if you just missed our conversation with LavvieBot by Purrsong, then feel free to go back, check out the podcast. It will have today's show in its entirety, or of course archives at computeramerica.com. So without further ado, we're just going to go ahead and jump right into computer and technology news. And let's go ahead, hit the music, and then we will get started. Everyone, here we go. So our first story for today, and let's see. So we're going to put that there. Okay, so our first story for today, and everyone, this is going to be pretty interesting because obviously I think a lot of you out there have been using the internet for a while, and if you have, then you should be familiar with something called the Shockwave Player. It's from the company known as Adobe, and Adobe makes a lot of different software, environments, I guess you would call them, but there's been a long-running feud between the host of the show, Craig Grossman, and of course Adobe, not Acrobat. He doesn't like Adobe Flash. Well, Shockwave is kind of one of those applications, and well, not for long. Adobe plans to discontinue Adobe Shockwave. a browser-based platform for interactive games and applications on April 9th, 2019. So about a month. In about a month, Adobe will be removing downloads for Shockwave Player for Windows on that day from its internet sites and servers. The company notes that the enterprise customers will continue to receive support for Adobe Shockwave until contracts expire. So unless you're one of these large companies that depends on the Shockwave player for some of its, for some of its software, and when you think, well, who would possibly do that? You'd be surprised how many actually do that. So with that being said, Adobe says that the rise of alternative technologies are the main reason for discontinuation of the product, saying, quote, and again, this is from Adobe, as technologies evolve and the use of mobile devices has grown, interactive content has moved to platforms such as HTML5 Canvas and WebGL, and usage of Shockwave has declined. Essentially what they're saying is that Shockwave is no longer the preferred method, and for an organization as large as Adobe, if it's not the most used platform, then it's probably not worth maintaining. And so here we are. They said that Adobe discontinued Adobe Director and Adobe Shockwave Player for macOS in 2017 already, so the Mac version has already been gone. The Windows version should be retiring by April. And again, that will end all support for consumer versions, and that's super important because obviously there will be instances where you can go to third-party download sites, you can download the Shockwave Player from other sites, but the main problem is that without the continued development, then you run into bugs, you run into other issues, and probably the biggest thing for Adobe is that they don't want to be blamed for any kind of security risk. If you happen to use this on a daily basis and you feel like you want to continue to use this, just know that they won't be supporting it, and therefore if there's any kind of security flaw with it and you choose to continue to use it, then you are giving yourself a very well-known vulnerability. It's just not something that you really want. But again, Shockwave was mainly used for like browser games and things like that back in the good old days of, all the different video games that you could play online. Trust me, my early teenage years were filled with browser-based video games, and this was a huge part of it. But all good things must come to an end, and again, Adobe will be retiring Shockwave on April 9th, 2019. This should not how do I put this? This should not really inconvenience that many people, but hey, maybe it strikes that little bit of a nostalgia chord. So there's that. All right, so there's that one. And so I think for the first part of our computer and technology news, we're going to do product and service announcements, and then we'll move on to different stories, and then we'll end with controversies if we have time. Save the angry stuff for last, and hopefully put off the ire until later. But story number one, there you go. Story number two, though. Story number two has to do with Apple and their streaming service. So obviously Apple is well known with, for iTunes and things like that. They have cornered the market when it comes to music, although obviously Spotify and places like that have found a foothold in the streaming space. But one place that Apple used to be very well known for, which is buying movies and things like that, essentially getting all your entertainment through iTunes, well, they've been a little slow in adopting the streaming video service, as opposed to things like Netflix or Hulu. Not anymore, or at least that's what we assume. This is from Saqib Shah, and this is from Engadget. Apple will finally unveil its streaming video service on March 25th. And this is something that Apple has put out. Normally they put out these press releases that are pretty vague. It's just the Apple logo and some, kind of save the date special event, and they really don't say much more. But Apple has come a long way from its Steve Jobs predecessor, and said that, they've come a long way from Steve Jobs, for better or worse, and a lot of their moves are highly I guess, kind of telegraphed. So here we go. This is just a quick little article, quick little shout out that rumors of an Apple Spring event were true. The company's next event will happen March 25th at the Steve Jobs Theater on Apple's Cupertino campus. And judging by the event invite, which you can see there if you're watching the video portion, we'll finally hear about Apple's long-rumored video service, saying that the rumblings have pointed to a spring event that would see the launch of Apple's news and video service. But the invite doesn't quite make it clear whether we'll actually get any info on the new product. There's also a chance that we'll see new iPads, as Apple has refreshed its lineup in March for several years now. But one thing is for sure, we'll be and of course this is from a gadget saying that they'll bring the news live as it happens. So maybe a bit of a product refresh for the iPad, sorely needed. I think the iPad has kind of faded into just this kind of conglomerate of tablets. No one can really, everyone just kind of agrees that the iPad is one of the best tablets, but as far as tablets go, it just seems to be this kind of this amorphous blob of a technology. And then on top of that, we get the video streaming service, which I think Apple could do pretty well in. Apple has a lot of pull and a lot of status with content creators in Hollywood and a lot of these other services. So maybe Apple can throw its weight around and make something that's actually attractive to consumers. But hey, it's going to be hard to stand out in a field that is as crowded as video streaming. So can't wait to see what happens. And again, that looks like March 25th, and we will of course let you all know in a couple of weeks what Apple actually meant by that. Now, there's that story. Story number 2. Story number 3. This is very much in line with this, so this is why we kind of put them together. Story number 3. NBC. They are a free. They will be releasing a free news streaming service that will fully launch in May. That's right. So January, February, March, April, May. I should really learn my months out of order. That would be kind of helpful. And it's going to happen right after the alphabet. It's going to happen any day now. But I digress. NBC working on a free news streaming service. And again, launching in May. Saying that the broadcaster is officially launching its free NBC News Now. So if you want to look up the service, NBC News Now. And it'll be available on a plethora of devices, or plethora, whatever, including living room devices like the Apple TV and Roku, and should deliver 8 hours of original programming per day, including live updates both on the hour for breaking news stories, and the ultimate aim is to provide around-the-clock content, NBC News President Noah Oppenheim said. And here we go, saying that, but Oppenheim added that the News Now will pull material from the other corners of NBC Universal, including E! News and sports. So I'm betting kind of like that primetime block of local news, national news, entertainment, and maybe sports. And they're going to be throwing all that into a free service that is going to be chock full of advertising, I assume. Now, the service will be entering a competitive field. ABC News Live is the most obvious rival due to its relatively recent launch, but there's also the long-serving CBSN, as well as online focus outlets like Cheddar. NBC might not have much choice, as Oppenheim pointed out, saying that people's habits are rapidly changing. And yeah, you have to agree. This is simply these large behemoths of from television having to adopt new technology to stay relevant. And a streaming service makes all the sense in the world, and especially a free one. So once again, NBC News Now coming in early May. If you're a fan of NBC, that's good news for you. Now, that was story number 3. Now, we're going to blow through these next couple ones because they're all different product releases. They're products that are coming out and, maybe some changes that you should see in the next couple of months. But we thought we'd let you know about them here now. And this first one, there was such a backlash from the chips on from chips being on debit cards and credit cards that were an extra layer of security other than just the mag strip. And just the adoption rate was pretty abysmal. I mean, I think there are still places around here that don't even use the chip at this point. It's and of course it added like a couple seconds, and like the 12 seconds on average that it added, or 6 seconds, led to a huge disapproval rating and so on and so forth, that a couple retailers actually cut them out completely. Now, if you think that's bad, assuming the technology works, I wonder what the blowback's going to be about a fingerprint reader built into the credit card, or I'm sorry, into the debit card. And you can see an image of it here, kind of where the chip would be on a regular debit card. There's a little square, and that square would then be, think of any kind of smartphone or anything that would read your fingerprint. Hey, it would read your fingerprint right there built into the card. And here we go. This is an article from The Verge saying that debit card with built-in fingerprint reader begins trial in the UK, saying that there's no more PIN numbers, no signatures, and no payment limits. I guess they're assuming that if you have this, and this is and this is something that, as they kind of point out here in the article, only 200 customers are getting. This is a very limited trial. This is not anyone who wants one. This is a very controlled area. And they said that it will allow participants to make near-field communication, NFC, which you also may think of as like Apple payments or MasterCard payments, Visa payments, whatever, Samsung Pay, whatever. The thing where you kind of wave your phone. You can make NFC payments without needing to input a PIN, or of course offering a signature, saying that the standard $30 limit for contactless payments will not apply when the fingerprint is used. Very important. So obviously the $30 limit was there to protect the user from, maybe getting scanned erroneously, or, maybe hackers were trying to steal their money, and, $30 was about all you would risk. But I guess, if you have this thing in your pocket, even though it may continuously be emitting a near-field communication to, make a payment whenever you want, if your finger isn't on your card and reading it, then, hey, it doesn't really matter, does it? Because it won't go through. And that's why you get to lift the limit. Now, they said that NatWest, and NatWest is the bank that's doing this trial, doesn't overcome this problem, saying that participants in the trial must visit a branch of their bank. And they said that the hopes in future versions of the system will allow customers to use their own phone to register their fingerprint, which shouldn't be too hard because a lot of high-end phones have built-in fingerprint scanners, which actually work very, very well. And even if you didn't, then I could assume that you could go into your local branch and they'd be able to make your at least scan a fingerprint, make your fingerprint scan available to you. This inconvenience and the need to carry a separate card raises questions as to why biometric cards are necessary when mobile payment functionality is included on so many modern smartphones. But since bank cards are provided for free with a qualifying bank account, this scheme has the potential to make available to people who can't afford a modern smartphone. And I think overall, it's just another way to secure a card, because they're wondering, if this uses the exact same technology as a smartphone, to make a payment, it uses near-field communication, uses a fingerprint scanner, uses all the technology that's found in a modern-day smartphone, then why the heck would you ever want a card like this? And personally, my first argument against that would be, then I don't have a debit card just sitting around where if my PIN is compromised for any kind of reason, then I don't have to worry about it because, hey, you can't steal my fingerprint. Obviously, there are things wrong with that. Like, let's say you wanted to give your card to someone else so that they could buy something for you. You would not be able to do that. But I digress. There's ways around that. It's yeah, it's just something that could be coming. And right now, trials are happening with certain banks, and this is happening in the UK. So there you go. Maybe in the US here in the coming months. Now, again, we're doing all these different stories on new products. Now, let's talk about this one. Then we'll talk about the S10. Now, story number 5. Yes, story number 5. LG. What if instead of K-cups with coffee and other pod-based things, I think they have like tea and other assorted drinks you can make. There's like cocoa and hot chocolate and stuff like that. Now, we all know of the pod-based drink system. It's a disaster for the environment, but a convenient gadget nonetheless. Well, what if you took it a bit further, and you can see a product image of it here. It's this could be interesting, although obviously for the environment not so much. But here we go. LG might sell a pod-based ice cream making gadget. That's right. Think of a Keurig coffee maker or K-cup coffee maker, one pod shot, whatever based drink you may want, and instead you'll have flavors and textures built into the pod, which would then turn themselves into ice cream. And you can see the gadget there. For everyone out there listening simply on the radio, think of a really kind of like a 3D printer. That might not be the most relatable technology. A platform where you put the dish, 2 large pillars to the left and right, which I assume hold some of the milk and whatnot, and then a top that has a touch screen in it, and you can of course pour your ingredients inside of it. Horrible description, but my point is, it's an ice cream maker. Now, LG hosted a pop-up at South by Southwest this year, where it showed off a few new prototypes, although it mostly demoed new models of its Chloe line of home robots. Well, LG also brought something called the Snow White to the festival, an at-home ice cream machine that requires capsules to produce a treat. And you can see some of the capsules here where you think instant made ice cream, and it's not just soft serve. It's sherbet, sorbet, granita, gelato, ice cream, frozen custard, frozen yogurt, and of course the all-important cleaning pod. Because if anyone out there has ever worked anywhere that served ice cream, these stupid things require a lot of cleaning. Otherwise, they get moldy and just gross. So, nice that they have a cleaning pod. They said that, obviously, the machine requires 2 pods, one for the flavor and another for the base texture, which determines whether you're making sorbet, ice cream, or gelato. Every capsule has a QR code printed on it that will tell the machine what to make, and the person demoing this device didn't know what ingredients were inside the capsules, except for shelf-safe pasteurized milk, nor how cold the machine could get. I assume only about ice cream coolness. Unfortunately, they didn't have availability on pricing. This definitely seems like something that just kind of fell out of their research and development section, but hey, they at least made it far enough to get it to demo a live version of it out at South by Southwest. There you go. As a podcast enthusiast, and this is from the author over at The Verge, he appreciated that LG is making more pods, but it's unclear how many people really want to make ice cream from a capsule when they could just pick it up, a convenient pint at the grocery store. Although I think the same argument was made when the coffee maker first came out. It's like, why would anyone want individual serve coffee when they could just make a pot of coffee, or you could go to Starbucks and get it, or, so many other ways to get coffee. And we all know how the pod-based coffee industry has taken off. So maybe ice cream is the wave of the future. If they found a way to get Dippin' Dots in those things, it might actually succeed. Okay. One more product announcement, and then we'll get to some fun stories. And this one, The Galaxy S10, you may have heard that. It's going to be one of the biggest phones out there. And biggest, I mean like dimension size, and overall it's going to have a lot of technology packed into it. If you're not an Apple fan, then the Galaxy line of phones is just about the best you can get if you're not into Apple. Well, one of the features that they have been touting, just like Apple has been touting with their phones, is the ability to unlock a phone with your face. And surprise, surprise, as we've seen with a lot of other security focused applications, the Samsung Galaxy S10 is fooled by 2D images. That's right. The Verge was able to unlock the device with a video, and YouTube channel Unbox Therapy was able to unlock the S10 by playing one of its public channel videos in view of the camera. The worst example is probably from the AndroidWorld.it, which was able to unlock the Galaxy S10 by waving a still photo around in front of the device. That's right, they took a photo of the person who owns the phone and simply shook it around. Because obviously, the Galaxy S10 uses the front-facing camera and uses the video to, kind of prove that it's a person and not a picture. But if you move a picture around, then hey, it's kind of like a video. They said that the Galaxy S10 can also reportedly have trouble telling different people apart. Security researcher Jane Wong was able to unlock her brother's phone with her face. Completely different genders, although of course I'm assuming here. But, Samsung used to have a more secure face unlock system that didn't rely on a simple camera, starting with the Galaxy Note 7. Well, they saying that they implemented extra hardware for face unlock, which used an IR LED and an extra front-facing camera to scan your iris. The hardware lasted through the Galaxy S8, Note 8, S9, Note 9, but was removed in the S10. Saying that they just didn't have room in the hardware, but hey, more front-facing sensors would have meant more display holes, and at this point, the screen looks like they are compromising security for aesthetic value. Happens a lot in tech, unfortunately. The issue isn't the same problem Samsung had years ago, and at the same time, just means that this is not uncommon. This is not uncommon for Samsung or anyone else. We had the same problem with, let's say, Intel. They had their RealSense cameras and things like that. They just aren't all that accurate. You need a bit of wiggle room in there, because if you don't, then any kind of inconsistency would give you false positives and wouldn't let you do it. Like, let's say for just a real world example, the bank that we use, they have a way to set up a voice fingerprints or a voice print on their customer service. And I remember calling, and I'd just gotten over a cold or just getting a cold. And essentially the one that I had set up was not the one on file, where I think I have a voice and I think it stays pretty consistent. But the machine, after being sick, or at least their system, I was talking to the rep, and just in the middle of our conversation, the rep just said, I'm sorry for the inconvenience, but I have to hang up on you because the voice print on file does not match the voice that we are talking to right now, so we cannot help you anymore. Call back later, or walk into a branch with your ID and sort it out yourself. Technology is flawed, and you have to make that decision. Do you have the wiggle room and you kind of let people use your devices, or do you become more strict and at the same time deal with angry, upset people? Now, there you go. So, nope, did not mention anyone in the chat room. So, with that being said, time for just, really not much time for just any more stories. So some of the stories that we didn't get to, and I really wanted to get to this one because out at South by Southwest, which just happened, there was a situation of a pop-up quiz, HQ trivia, and they were hoping that only the two people only a couple people that were in the audience who were supposed to take part in the quiz were going to take part in it. They had to use their smartphones, and they were kind of actively taking it. They put the code up to join the quiz room online. It's not an uncommon kind of thing. Long story short, people spread the code to enter the contest around on social media like right away, and about 3,000 people joined when only 2 people were supposed to. And naturally, the host didn't know what to do. It was a big old mess. And where the 2 winners who were supposed to be there who would have otherwise, been winners, and each one would have taken home $5,000 because so many people entered online erroneously. Everyone who won, they decided to split the prize with all 70 winners, and everyone walked away with just about $100 instead of $5,000 that they were supposed to. Just a very, very silly thing, and wish I had more time to get into it. But everyone, the music means that we're just about done here. Thank you so much for tuning into Computer America, and thank you so much for our guests today. Everyone, we hope that you enjoyed Purrsong and, of course, the LavvieBot. And if you missed any part of today's show, check out the podcast. And until next time, everyone, have a great day. Thank you so much for tuning in. And until next time, have a great one. Bye-bye.
With